Kachka. We are going to talk about important things taking place in our country. Today specifically we're going to talk about verification of the social benefits or welfare payments, one of the large projects which is being implemented this year, which has to lead to the situation when we could efficiently spend the money allocated for the social benefits. We're talking about real big amounts of money. We're going to talk about the mechanics of this project in the context of banks, because in addition to the work associated with putting into order financial sector, we are on the edge or on the threshold of important the financial banking sphere. We are talking about very important steps to be taken this sphere. So we are going to talk about the intersection or overlapping those two big projects, and verification of benefits. Social benefits is rather complex and new project for Ukraine. So I would like to give give the floor to say a few words to explain the essence of this project. So the floor is given to Pavlo Kuhta, and then we are going to talk specifically about some other things. What is verification per se? Kind of introduction. More than 40% of all the, let's say, expenditures is the social benefits. We are talking about several billions of hryvnia. We are talking about the pension, different forms of social support, subsidies, etc., etc., etc. Almost all of those are the payments which are paid to specific persons. So the amount of money is rather huge, but this kind of target-oriented payments provided to this or another person. Any abuse, case of abuse in the system, even let's say relatively small, because of the big amount of those, can actually lead to very big misappropriation of funds. And they actually, this is the case we're talking about, almost 25%, like it was the case in Georgia. There was a kind of chaos in the financial system. That's why they lost a lot of money. In Greece, about 2% of conventional speaking, 2% of the population received that money, but in fact they did not exist. They were non-existent. But 2% of the total amount of population were kind of paid those kind of illegal money. We are talking about the so huge amount of misappropriation. We are not talking about something is delaying or whether we have to assist or help this or not category of people. We are talking about the theft of the money. A very primitive scheme is being used in different countries. When, for example, people die, or this deceased person continues, or somebody in his or her name continues to receive the money targeted for this person. They continue to pay the pension to this person, though this person is already dead. So that's why we carry out verification of the beneficiaries, or the let's say those who receive the pension, or whether this person is eligible to get the pension. If it's okay, no problem. But if the person is dead, or somebody is not non-existent, we have first of all to verify who was stealing that money, etc. So we are talking about a big amount of money, and the kind of, we are talking about money saving. We are talking about some elements of macroeconomy. We are talking about at least 1% of GDP, huge amount of money, and this is a very important reform for Ukraine. From point of view optimization of the share, public share in GDP, you know that this is, mildly speaking, too big, and we have to reduce that somehow and decrease. And through this kind of corruption, expenditures which are, nobody needs, this will allow us to more reasonably spend the money and pay the money on those people who really badly need those, and not to by the let's say kind of as a result of fraudulent schemes. So later we're going to talk about that in more detail. I want the opinion of the banks regarding this process, and to which extent it's kind of extraordinary. We're talking about the everyday procedure, banking procedure. I would like to give the floor to Tamara Savoschenko, CEO of the UniCredit Bank. So it does have some practical impact, this process, on the relationship between the bank and the customers, the clients. Thank you. First of all, I would like to say that we should not be afraid of this word verification, because first and foremost, verification is a certain procedure, control procedure, which is nothing new. If we know that there are a certain criteria which are stipulated by the effective legislation. I'm talking about the category of the persons who are eligible to some social benefits, or let's say welfare payments at the expense of the public budget. So if we have such categories, then the procedure should exist of control over those criteria, which influences, as it has been mentioned before, on the distribution or legal or reasonable spending of that money. If we are talking about the verification procedure, then certainly banks are participants in this project and this process, since it is the bank which have the information which is absolutely necessary for carrying on this verification procedure. Speaking about this specific project, the banks definitely support this project, and those issues, whatever depends upon banks, actually the banks are going to provide this information. If you're talking about the verification process, what we can read, can find on the internet, in the mass media, this is directly associated with the issue of disclosure or non-disclosure of banking secret. I would like to speak in more details about this specific issue, because this is very important to understand the verification process. The issue of banking secrecy or secret, and how to keep this secret, and the procedure is described in Article 61, 62, whatever else, in the law on banking activities. And the disclosure of banking secret has some restrictions, and some procedures are also provided. Nothing special which we are going to have in this verification procedure. Those procedures have been in existence for a long time, and the bank secrecy or secret in different sectors can be, or different directions can be disclosed based on certain rules and regulations. Recently, they introduced amendments to the law on banks and banking activities. And those amendments just enlarged or expanded the list of institutions to which, under certain conditions and given certain restrictions, the information available now, which contains the bank secret, can be disclosed. We are talking about the Ministry of Finance, and disclosure of information only regarding those citizens who fall under the category of who are the beneficiaries of social benefits or welfare payments. Thank you, Oleksiy Aleksandrov, Deputy Chairman of the National Management Board of the National Bank. Thank you very much. Thank you for the invitation to take part in this discussion. From the point of view of the public banks, first of all, I would like echo what has been said by my colleagues. We are a financial institution which operates on behalf of the state. We absolutely support the proposed process of verification. What are the roots of maybe kind of misunderstanding, maybe some fear among our citizens who actually enjoy those services? Actually, the introduction part that was already mentioned, the level of the trust or mistrust in banking sphere, it's rather high. I mean, mistrust or lack of confidence based on the ratings of the last year. So the part of our this kind of step is to add some positive elements to this situation. Well, already I repeat what has been said, that the clients or customers will not suffer, those who actually belong to the category of those citizens in Ukraine who enjoy the kind of social benefits or welfare payments. Then, according to the banking activities law, they do not violate any rights of the customers. They only exclusively information is disclosed to another operator, only in the amount which is required to understand whether this client is, let's say, honest, integral, or not integral. And we, as citizens of these countries who receive those benefits, we have to reveal, let's put it this way, those citizens who are not have not a nice attitude towards their country, to their state. And number two, we can save the money which can be used in target-oriented manner to for those citizens who are eligible to such benefits. The figures, speaking about our partners, we already had the examples of Georgia. In Greece, those are the huge amounts of money. Should we expect that at the first stage that our picture in our country would be better? No. We have to do everything possible in order to actually to make this situation clear. This is the position of the public banks. Mr. Anton Tyutyun, Deputy Chairman of the Management Board of Oschadbank, speaking about the social benefits, to which extent this project is important for your bank, and how you're going to do that in terms of practical approach. Thank you for your question. First of all, I would like to say that to us as the public bank, this project is the same as for any commercial banks. There is no difference between us because this covers all the financial institutions irrespective of the form of ownership in Ukraine. We often hear the question, which is related to our discussion, that the population doesn't like it. Because I personally welcome this project. We just have to explain to the people what this is all about, not by some kind of the laws articles or the specific footnotes in the laws. We have to explain the position of our country and in our person, the managers of the banks. We are talking, in fact, about the very simple thing. We have to observe the laws provisions. For example, if a person doesn't have any deposit, or this or another person has enough or not enough income level. At last, the government start to demand let's say, the observation of laws. You named as you actually quoted figures. Those are huge figures. Let's imagine that just for a minute that we are managers who have to ensure the efficiency of the operation of the state. We are talking about billions upon billions of the money saved for the budget, owing to the fact that not those persons who really need those benefits, not the persons who do not need these benefits, do not receive those benefits. For many years, we just actually put a blind eye on this problem. Now, we at last start to do something about that. So we support this this initiative, and of course, we are going to fulfill or to observe all the laws and requirements of the law. And people shouldn't be fear about that. There is no responsibility, neither criminal or any other. And the state tries to make sure that all the people who receive those social benefits are eligible to that. So we have to explain to the people that this is a normal thing when the government takes some kind of target-oriented steps in order for those legislative acts which have been adopted be implemented. This is nothing new. Many countries went through this procedure, and we have to follow this road from the beginning to the end, kind of the road of cleaning. Victor Mazarchuk, Center for Political Studies and Analysis. So I would like to look at this project from different angle. Everybody talking about this disclosure of banking secret or an efficient use of the money. Why? So the key issue that the tax paid by the citizens of Ukraine, us included, through the system of the public institutions, is not used efficiency. Period. Taxes which each of us pay or pays, they're being stolen. Period. Now some figures. Our organization, we actually carried out a number of the training sessions for the civil servants associated with the process formation of the local budgets in 5 regions: Kherson, Chernigov, Kharkov, Vinnytsia, and Lviv. We try to teach them how to use another unique resource which is called e-data. We are talking about the portal with public openings of using the public resources, and we told the people how to use this kind of resource. And I asked them, dear friends, tell me please, in your personal opinion, the people who for the majority of their life were associated with the governmental structure, so what would be the share of the governmental resources used inefficiently? So what do you think, what kind of figure they came up on the average? 41%. Even in the opinion of the people who are related or associated with the budgetary process, 41% of the public money were used or have been used inefficiently. What does it mean? It means that pensions and social benefits, rather small ones, which are paid to the people, they are small because 40% of that money is stolen, period. 47% of pensions lie in the range up to 1,300 hryvnia. Period. Those are official data of the pension fund of Ukraine. Why such small pensions? Because there is no money to. Why there is no money? Because the money is being stolen or used inefficiently. Period. This is where the major problem lies. What the Minister of Finance is trying to launch another very important project, a verification project, is something which can help us to identify those people who actually steal your money. And this is a process which allows us, enables us to identify those people who use this money illegally. That's it. Nothing more than that. So the verification process, if we take the vulgar Latin, this is the verification of certain hypotheses. The hypothesis of the Minister of Finance is that the social benefits must be paid to those people who deserve this. Who do not deserve them, they should not receive those benefits. Period. And some more official figures of the pension fund. Over this year, the number of pensioners increased by 165,000 persons. A very interesting fact. In all the regions, we observe the decrease of the number of pensioners. Only in 2 regions, we have the increase. What do you think? What regions I'm talking about? Absolutely true. Donetsk and Lugansk region. Strange as it may be. Another indicator, average pension in all the regions. Again, the same 2 regions have the highest pensions. That's why the process which the Ministry of Finance launched, this is one of the means to ensure efficiency of spending public money, because we have to continuously remind these civil servants, dear friends, there are no public money. Those are the money of the taxpayers. And I am absolutely agree with what been said by one of my colleagues. So this is another mechanism to find those people who use our money which belongs to us all, in the wrong way. We have to remove those from the system, and this is not the task of the Minister of Finance to remove those people from the system. This is the direct task of the pension fund and the Minister of Finance, and we have to talk about that. We have just to identify those persons and to give the list of those persons to the competent let's say organs or bodies who are going to take care of them from that on. So I do hope that owing to this process, first of all, pensioners will receive higher pensions. I really hope that owing to this process, people will place more confidence in our country, in our government, because they came to you and check whether you are legally receiving this pension. If legally, good for you. If not, sorry, dear friend, everybody is equal in the face of law. Thank you. Thank you for this kind of summing up, very informative. Any questions or comments, clarifications? Who is going to help us with the mic?
Good afternoon, dear colleagues. I'm Enrico, Ukrgasbank, UniCredit, Ukrgasbank, and other enterprises. I take several minutes of your time. I disagree, and this is my personal opinion with the last remark. First, Donetsk and Lugansk Oblast, they have the right to get more pensions, and it's not for us to decide without statistics who gets what. And secondly, there is contradiction in the last statement. First, we say that someone gets a lot, and then we say that everyone should get more. This is first remark. About the figures. Donetsk Oblast, 350 claims were rejected. They were rejected, and these people didn't get, and people from Kharkivska Oblast that were also 200,000 of people who also applied for this, and I am, as a, my parents also want to get the subsidy. They pay a lot for communal services, and they claim for the benefits, and banks are strategic partners in the realization of such a program. I explain why. I came to the meeting that is called should the consumers of the bank should be afraid of this process, and the people should defend their rights for these benefits, and banks should help them, and the banks can also verify whether this person really exists. And I have a question to my colleagues: what are the ways of informing and educating the clients on this that this is positive for and whether we are going to provide it by this information by letters or the managers who inform the clients on this. So maybe thank you for this comment. Thank you. This is a very good question, and it is timely to ask about this. I want to inform you briefly what we do in our bank. We see three main channels of information. This is information in the offices by providing information in accessible format, information that is easily acceptable for our clients. The second channel, we prepared clear and understandable instruction for our managers who communicate with our clients directly, and for them to understand and to communicate this information, and also through our site of our bank. It is directed to the clients that use distance services of our bank, and they can see it on our site. All this information is present there, and also a contact center for the clients that will call and will try to find information there. So these are the main channels through which we provide the information. So I would like to add information that will be directly provided by the client through the application to the pensions fund and all those. All these means of communication and information were already mentioned. And one more thing. Also through the media in the regional centers, I visited several regions last week, and we gather people for press conferences, and we raise this question and inform people. We want to be the agents of right changes and communicating to people the right information. And we should we should inform people. And also my parents ask the same questions, and I clearly understand how it should be explained to people. I would add one more channel. We should do this constantly, and it should be the norm. Thank you. Any other questions? Raise your hands. I would like to say that the main role is not only should be played by the bank, but also by the Ministry of Finance and by the government to clearly send messages and to explain to people what it is. So it should be clear information campaign, and in all state level, and also in through regional media, and then press people in the regions. They watch and read regional media. So this is a clear moment how to explain this to elderly people in villages. They won't watch it on the internet and this video. This is the task of the representatives of the Cabinet of Ministers and the President, I mean the heads of state administrations in the regions and regional scientific elites or analytical centers to explain to people, to inform them, because there are a lot of problems and there should be clear understanding. Maybe we shouldn't invent a bike. One program, and here 2 participants of this program are present, and there are good examples where the interest of the state and physical persons, consumers and legal persons and banks, this is the program of energy efficiency, and where people believed the state and financial institutions as operators played their important role there. This is a symbiosis where everything is good, where social advertisement is present and the state is active and works through the agency and everything in its place. And if we do this the same, so this we will yield good results. So maybe if there's no, oh yes, there is a question. Please introduce yourself first. Daria Kurina, Donbas Realia. About Oschadbank, till 15th of April, you should have conducted a program and that for pensioners from occupied territories, the pension certificate will be also the idea for getting some benefits, and what will be the process, the procedure? Thank you for your question. The Cabinet of Ministers took this decision, and there the matter is that till the 15th of April there should be a procedure developed, and pension fund has its documents that should be methodologically taken, and how the certificate will look like, plus the card, and what the information should be provided, and other technical agenda that will influence the processes. And then more clear date will be established when these cards will be provided, and we will give you the information later. But on the whole, I will tell you that there won't be any complications for the clients. People address pension fund, and then they go to the bank for applying, and then for taking the documents back. So we will minimize the visits of the person to the banks or to a pension fund in order to simplify lives of people, in order to reduce these visits to the institutions in order to get pension. Thank you. Do you have other questions? If there's no, maybe some final remarks. And I would like to tell you that this can be a very successful project, and cooperation from the banks and customers and government. The positions are clear, and till the next period we will hope for the news about verification and success in this year. And I thank you all, and this is the end of the briefing, and this is the last briefing at Ukraine Crisis Media Center. Until tomorrow, goodbye.